we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about UFC and actually speak our minds here today. So we're going to break it down from weight class to weight class to weight class and just really speak our minds. So let's begin from the heavyweight with Stipe Miocic coming off of that win against Alistair Overeem.
So as you guys know, I did call it a first round knockout, so I am excited about
Disappointing.
That makes me credible. That makes him not as credible, but he'll get up to my level eventually.
We'll let it be whatever he wants it to be in that moment. Look, I can't take anything away from Stipe Miocic. He showed heart in there. And not for nothing, I did say Alistair Overeem was going to win, and tell me it did not look like he was going to win. The heart came in, it played a factor. Alistair Overeem, that big beast running around like skipping, afraid to get hit by Stipe.
He was running like Conor McGregor in the Nate Diaz fight. That's what everyone's commenting.
So he got caught, even when he was put on his back and Stipe got in the full mount position. It's almost like a video game where you don't know what the block button is. He
wasn't really full mounted. He was in full guard. He was
guard.
So Alistair Overeem had him in full guard, and he was just, Stipe was just wailing out.
There was no movement.
He was like, "Where's the RB button? I can't block today."
Seriously, and he got knocked out, so it was disappointing. What's next for Stipe Miocic?
Actually, that's interesting because he actually made it clear that he wants to fight John Jones.
John Jones, and is that even a possibility?
Well, this is what I'm gonna go ahead and say here. This is what would be smart for the UFC. There's gonna be somebody to comment saying, "Oh my God, these guys aren't UFC accountants or businessmen." I see you out there ready to comment it. Look, we are talking from a fan's point of view. So this is what I'm gonna say here. I think Cain Velasquez and Werdum fight each other again for the Stipe. What Stipe should do, I agree. I think that a John Jones fight would be very interesting.
Well, funny that you say John Jones because that heavyweight is dropping down to the light heavyweight. So let's talk about what's next for actually Cormier.
So Cormier, I think he's gonna take a back seat for a little bit. I think that we also have that Rumble and John Jones in the air, and of course Daniel Cormier has actually been throwing a little bit of shots at John Jones, saying that he shouldn't actually have that interim belt, and he shouldn't be fighting for an interim belt because he's been gone for so long.
So let us know what you think on the light heavyweight decision or division, whatever you want to call it. We actually made a video in regards to the light heavyweight division with Rumble Johnson as well as John Jones.
And DC all together, the little triangle, the love triangle we're talking about.
So let's drop that one out the way and let's go down to the middleweight division where now we have the middleweight champ actually being
Michael Bisping.
The middleweight champ is
the Count.
Yo, who is the middleweight champ?
Michael Bisping.
Let's talk about what's happening in this weight.
Alright, so as you guys know, Michael Bisping is out for revenge on that historic knockout that Dan Henderson did catch him with. Everyone knows that knockout because it isn't every highlight with the elbow. With the elbow, literally a dive in. And that's what's happening here. Of course, everyone here does think that Michael Bisping is going to end up winning that fight.
Well, not everyone.
Well, the majority. You are yet again going to lose that credibility when Michael
Dan Henderson, and again we also have another video put aside, check that out, where we actually discuss our predictions in regards to that matchup. Now another interesting thing about that is, let's just elaborate a little bit more, and Dan Henderson is going to retire win or lose. What would be next for Bisping given that?
Okay, so if Bisping wins, I believe that, to be completely honest, I believe that it's either going to be after, because as you guys know, the Rockhold and the Jacare Sosa fight is upcoming. So that could be a #1 contender fight for the title, or it can actually be the Weidman versus Yoel Romero. That's still up in the air. No one really knows if it's true, false. No one knows, but we do think that it's either. Me personally, I think if Chris Weidman does fight Yoel, Chris Weidman wins, and I think if Luke Rockhold fights Jacare, Luke Rockhold wins. So I believe it's going to be one of those two fighters to fight the Count.
Bisping. Okay. Given if that's the way it plays out and then Henderson just doesn't go out like Peyton Manning did in football. Think about it like that. But anyways, that's the middleweight division. So Blanca, we're dropping down to the next weight, which will be
welterweight.
Let's talk about what's going on in the welterweight.
Let's just talk about Stephen Thompson, because that is the future of the division.
That's what he thinks.
That's what I know.
I feel like Tyrone Woodley, and again, we have another video on the side with that, is going to be the champ for quite a bit of time in that weight class.
Also, as well as Nick Diaz is going to go ahead and make his return sometime. Nick, not Nick. Nick. We are talking about Nick, the older brother. the first person who started the middle fingers. Not Nate, but Nick. So this is what we'll say. He is going to be coming back. I would love to see him in the Madison Square Garden fight. That would be amazing if they announce him, maybe in the last week, so everyone, they release all the cards, and then out of nowhere, they do what they did with basically Brock Lesnar for UFC 200, and you just have him coming out, saying whatever he does, because, he is reckless with how he speaks.
He is reckless. It's going to be interesting, but, let's mind you here, Nick Diaz actually coming to that weight class back to fighting. When he left the UFC, when he got suspended, it was off a loss. He's not coming back to fighting off a winning streak.
But with that being said, he did fight Anderson Silva, not only the greatest of all time.
At the time.
Greatest of all time.
All the time.
All the time. So, not only did he fight an Anderson Silva that, of course, is probably the best striker in the game, hands down, but he also fought an Anderson Silva that did get caught doping.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
That fight was actually real to no contest.
Okay.
So, just so, the viewers do know, that was a no contest fight. So, it didn't really come off as a loss. I mean, yeah, he did lose, but it's a no contest now.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think he's going to come back, better than ever because Nate Diaz really brought that Diaz name up.
He did. So we're going to put that one aside and let's drop down another weight class, which would be the
lightweight.
I like the lightweight division here with the new champ being Eddie Alvarez. Honestly, is he going to hold on to the title? He has a lot of momentum. I don't see it playing out that way, but that's still interesting within itself because what other fighters are within that weight class that actually pose a threat, Blanco?
Well, you already know I'm going to talk about the red panty night. So as you guys know, Eddie Alvarez has actually been just on and on about fighting McGregor. Of course, you guys all know if you fight McGregor, you're getting that money. So, of course, he's going to try to release as much information, talking trash to McGregor. That's going to help sell the fight, of course. But I don't think he's going to get the red panty night for some reason. I think he's just reaching.
Yeah, he's reaching and he's not going to get the red panties. He's going to end up with the blue balls because at the end of the day, Conor McGregor is going to be, if not already, the Floyd Mayweather of the MMA. He's going to call what fight he wants, when he wants to have it. Bottom line, still the lightweight division is very interesting and full of talent. Yes. Other than the red panty night, is there any other fighters that maybe we should be concerned about in regards to posing a threat to the champ?
Well, of course, you have many fighters in the division. Of course, you have Rafael Dos Anjos fighting Tony Ferguson. We did do a video on that, so you guys can probably go ahead and check that out unless this is uploaded before it.
Yes.
We also have, who's another lightweight? Exit Barbosa, the guy who just beat Showtime Pettis.
Yes.
So he's actually, out there looking for some revenge as well, because as you guys do know, he did lose to Tony Ferguson.
He did. So, now, basically, there's going to be a lot more fighters, a lot more things to speak about after that fight with Tony Ferguson against Dos Anjos, because that's actually going to set it up to the #1 contender for the title again. Is that not correct?
Correct.
Okay, so let's go ahead and put this weight class to the side. Let's drop down
to the weight class that everyone likes. Everybody. Conor McGregor put this weight class on blast. This is no longer a Fox Sport 1 weight class. This is a pay-per-view weight class. So we are talking about the featherweights. So what's your intake on the featherweight division right now?
I think that they don't think like I think, that they don't speak like I speak, that they cannot project these thoughts that I have. So I like this weight class because the champ of the weight class is also Conor, the notorious Conor McGregor, which makes everything so much more interesting when you can talk that shit and then back it up. Yeah. Now there's so much talent that the featherweight division is stacked, in my opinion. I mean, you still got Frankie Edgar.
You still got Max Holloway.
You still got Jose Aldo.
You have Showtime
Pettis. So there's a lot of actual talent within this weight class. The interesting thing is that we don't know what's going to happen based on Conor's next move because he was threatened to be stripped from the title, which is in the featherweight division, which will then give that title to the interim champ, which is Jose Aldo. So, in regards to that, is there anything else within that weight class that would make sense to kind of stir up the pot a little bit more?
Of course, we did mention this before, having Showtime fight Max Holloway. He could also fight, Cub Swanson. A lot of people forget about who Cub Swanson is. He's still a top 10 ranked guy. Yep. So, I mean, even if Showtime does fight like a Cub Swanson, a Max Holloway, somewhere there.
Jose Aldo?
Yeah, even a Jose Aldo or even a Frankie Edgar, who knows? That can always happen. If it does happen, Showtime can fight any of those people. If he fights any of those guys, he's instantly in the running for a title shot.
So let's go ahead and leave that there. We definitely want to know what y'all think about that featherweight division. Let's drop it down another weight class, Blanco.
To the bantamweight division where we have Dominic Cruz.
Dominic Cruz. Now this right here is interesting because also in this weight class we got Cody in there, right?
Cody.
Running, was it a 10-0 win streak right now?
10-0 win streak, obliterating, knocking out almost every fighter he fights, really. This guy, when he goes in there, you know, fist blazing. Dude just wants to knock out everybody.
So, and he has that momentum behind it. He's been getting first round knockouts. Now Dominic Cruz, honestly, his one loss against Uriah Faber, that's pretty much it. He's pretty much dominating this weight class. Is it too early to call him the pound for pound? Given, I mean, think about it, because let's not forget about TJ Dillashaw, all right? He's still in that weight class, and he's still a problem. He has amazing footwork, and he also used to train, obviously, with Uriah Faber, which Cody does as well. But somehow, the kryptonite, Dominic Cruz, is still holding on to that weight class. Do you think he's going to remain on top, or do you think that there may be something that none of us are seeing that may happen in
Well, this is what I would say. I think every champion does have his day. You know, I just don't think that Dominic Cruz's day is coming anytime soon. The way he's just too elusive in the octagon. I think if they want to go ahead and dethrone Dominic Cruz, the way you dethrone Dominic Cruz is getting Cody to go ahead and have more fights in the octagon, give him more experience, because there is nothing like fighting a guy like Dominic Cruz. You can't prepare yourself to fight Dominic Cruz. You can't, because there's no fighter. No, you can't even match him with TJ Dillashaw. There's no fighter that has the IQ of Dominic Cruz. There's no fighter who can dodge a punch like Dominic Cruz. There's no fighter who will go ahead and just
pretty much dominate the fight like Dominic Cruz does.
Exactly.
So if you really think about what you're saying here, which makes a lot of sense, Blanco, when it does come to Cody being undefeated against the actual, I feel like he's the undisputed champ, period. Besides, you know, he avenged his loss against Uriah Faber. Timing is everything. So twice, that's right, twice. So Uriah's out of the equation.
He just lost.
He just lost again. He's gatekeeper to, at this time, become a
retired.
No shade, we all see it. Mad love for the California kid, but you know, when your time's up, you're a great coach, and I invest in Cody a little bit more, picking his fights good to get him prepared.
And I do want to keep this, you know, thrown out there, because we did talk about Uriah and we talked about him a little bit negative. This guy has done tremendous things for the sport. I mean, we are talking about the face to WEC in the
California.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone knows who the California kid is, or the California boy, whatever you want to call him. We just know that he is one of the best fighters to do it and one of the most known.
So let's go ahead and drop it down another weight class, Blanco. What are we talking?
We are talking about the flyweight division. I don't even know why we're going to talk about this division.
Sponsored by Xbox.
Right? Sponsored by Xbox.
The only fighter in the world sponsored by Xbox, because he is not a human being. We're talking about, this is the pound for pound fighter. We call him Mighty Mouse Demetrius
Johnson.
That's right. Let's go ahead and talk about the champion, Blanco.
Alright, so as you guys know, we have easily the most dominant champ in UFC history. This guy has only, I think his most recent loss was like to Dominic Cruz back at the bantamweight division. So let's just put that in perspective. If you look at all the top 10 fighters in that division, the top 10 pound for pounds or whatever, the rankings.
Yeah.
If you look at top 10, he has beaten everyone basically in that list. We are talking about, he made John Dodson move up in weight class, and that was the only guy who can sort of keep up with him.
It was close.
It was close. The first fight.
There has not been pushovers. The only thing is, when you are as talented as Mighty Mouse, is you make these world-class elite athletes look average. That's why he's sponsored by Xbox.
Exactly. You know, Xbox will not go ahead and sponsor a guy who loses.
That's the truth. We're going to drop him down even another weight class, and now we're getting into the
women's division. So we're going to talk about the women's bantamweight division. Amanda Nunes. As a matter of fact, I have not heard anything about Amanda, so I think that she might be on the ride for Madison Square Garden, maybe a co-main event. And then
possibility, by a law of possibility.
I think that is incredibly possible, because the thing about it is, if it's gonna be the first fight in Madison Square Garden, you're not gonna have just one title fight.
That's right.
You're not gonna do it. And it's in New York. That is one of the most popular places in the United States. So you're gonna go all out. So I think
it would make sense. And I feel like Amanda Nunes is going to hold on to that title for longer than what we think. Believe it or not, I feel like whoever is next against her, of course, we saw what she did to Miesha Tate to the point where Miesha, her voluptuous face when she was sitting there, at the post conference having to cover it up, and all you can see is her eyes filled with sadness because she got beat up. It was, as a UFC fan, it was hard to see, but that just goes to show you that the strength that Amanda Nunes possesses is a force to be reckoned with, which makes it very interesting because, of course, we have other talented UFC women within that weight class. Are we not speaking of Holly Holmes?
We're talking about Holly Holmes.
Don't write her off yet. She is a striker. I don't know what's going on. Could it be the vibes in regards to, she does train with John Jones. There's just a lot of things going on.
Jackson's.
They're experiencing things, is it a reflection of what's happening? Does she need to train elsewhere? I would not write off Holly Holmes.
Listen, I think the biggest name here in this division is, of course, going to be Ronda Rousey. Where's Ronda Rousey? Of course, we have talked about Ronda Rousey. She has not been here in, centuries, basically. So we're still waiting, Ronda. Where are you at? You are like Frank Ocean's when he wasn't releasing albums. Where are you at right now? Please let us know. We need an album. We need a fight.
We need to see it soon, and it'll be lovely to see it against Amanda Nunes. So at the end of the day, we did the whole breakdown.
Actually, we have one more division.
And bring it to that division.
We have the strawweight division. We have Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Her name is so hard to pronounce, guys. If we obliterate it, come on, man. It's super difficult. So of course we know we have the beautiful Paige Van Zandt in this division. Of course we do have several other flyweights in that division.
But at the end of the day, the one who we can't seem to pronounce her name in this moment, don't worry, Joanne, she is shown like the heart of a champ, and she's been knocking people out.
She is the elite of the elite. I honestly think that in the pound for pound ranking, she should be a little bit higher than what she is. I think she should probably, I believe she's maybe 6 on the pound for pound. So I think she should probably be around 3 or 4. I think she should take Daniel Cormier's spot, in all honesty.
Wow.
And the reason being is because she wins in such dominating fashions. And I do think that she holds on to that belt longer than Daniel Cormier holds on to his belt. In all honesty, no shade to Daniel. He's a great fighter, but I think that, his clock is ticking.
So then at the end of the day, we're speaking our minds. Leave your comments, your opinions. We want to know what you think from the heavyweight all the way down to the strawweight, so Blanco.
As always, leave a comment down below. Go ahead and thumbs up the video. Share the video if you guys did enjoy it. Get all your family members to go ahead and
subscribe.
Go ahead and Blanco Show. Subscribe. And as always,